Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Venus sextile or trine Uranus in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, if you have Venus sextile or trine Uranus in a natal chart, well, one way it may manifest could be being very easy, to love and enjoy, which is Venus, the attainment of goals and aspirations, which is Uranus. Now, if you have Uranus in Aquarius as an example, those goals and aspirations may be tied in with humanitarian endeavors, altruistic actions, astronomy, astrology, computers, electronics, innovation, aviation, meteorology as some examples. If you have, let's say Uranus in Scorpio, those goals and aspirations may be tied in with transformation. It could be empowering others, maybe associated with recycling or locksmithing, psychology, embalming, working as a coroner, doing something with the occult, which includes astrology. Some other things can be, forensics, investigation, deep research, as some examples. Now, another thing too is that these aspects can indicate that you readily are able to find the inspiration, which is Uranus, in generating money, generating income, and making money, which is Venus. Now, if Venus is in Taurus as an example, those money-making endeavors may be done with persistence, patience, perseverance. It may be tied in with something Taurus-related, which can include, geology, carpet laying, architecture, agriculture, gardening, cultivation, banking, finance, as some examples. And also, too, these aspects can indicate, very easily, valuing, ingenuity. Valuing is Venus, and ingenuity, innovation is Uranus. So the thing is, if you have, Uranus and Capricorn, the ingenuity that you value, and you may even, you try to do something, in connection with this because you value, about, this is a placement and that's the aspects where you can easily value ingenuity. So you might, actually be proficient in doing things that are ingenious. And if Uranus is in Capricorn, as an example, it may be tied in, with businesses or, something with architecture or construction or information technology or dentistry, masonry, as some examples. And also to selflessness, which is Uranus, may be favorable, in terms of benefiting your self-worth, which is Venus. Now, the thing is, if you have, Uranus and Pisces as an example, those things that, as far as selfless actions may go, altruistic actions, and may be tied in, helping those that are less fortunate than yourself, which can include the homeless, the impoverished, the hungry, the oppressed, as some examples of Uranus is in Aquarius. Selfless actions may be tied in with helping somebody with computers or something, like with electronics or electricity, or something, wiring, in somebody's home, if the power goes out and somebody's able to come over and do something about it, those are some examples. Now, another thing too is that there may be a little difficulty in terms of finding the inspiration, which is Uranus, for artistic, endeavors and activities, which is Venus. Now, let's say if Venus is in Pisces as an example, artistic endeavors and activities may be tied in with abstract, fictional fantasy art. Venus in Gemini may be tied in with cartoon, animated art. Venus in the zodiac sign Cancer may be connected with art that's very, about our history, or family, or art that is very nostalgic, as some examples. And also too, this could be, and also being able to incorporate, something very unique in that art as well. Uniqueness, of course, is Uranus, incorporating ingenuity in that. And it could be very easy to do so with these aspects in a natal chart if you do have Venus sextile or trine Uranus. Now, another thing too is that these aspects too can be auspicious for having that certain amount, of freedom, which is Uranus, in the relationships, which is Venus, and being where freedom, can be accepted more by the significant other, and having that person being okay with it, or whether it's just an important friend, because Venus, encompasses, the relationships, which can include the significant other and marriage partner, and even, your important friends as well. Now, let's say if Venus is in Gemini, as an example, those relationships, one or more of those people may actually be a Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those, that are mercurial, adaptable, versatile, loquacious, multifaceted, but maybe very restless, contradictory, and very unchangeable as well. Now, and it could be too that the people that you're in relationships with may be willing to accept more, at your unique side, the idiosyncrasies, which is Uranus. I mean, if you have Uranus in Libra, as an example, you may express, a lot of, uniqueness in terms of your art, or maybe there's some viewpoints on the law, as some examples. If Uranus is in Scorpio, there may be some uniqueness expressed with the occult, which can include astrology. And these are things where, the uniqueness to idiosyncrasies, which is Uranus, may be more accepting by people you're in relationships with than as opposed to many other instances. Now, these aspects can also be auspicious for peace, which is Venus, in groups, clubs, and organizations, which is Uranus. If Uranus is in Capricorn, as an example, those groups, clubs, and organizations may be connected, construction or architecture. It could be just business. It may be something associated with dentistry or accounting. It could be with a lot of older people, as an example. And also, too, there's anything, physically Uranus related, which can include, unusual growths, so things that are nerve related, issues with the calves, the shins, of the ankles, the lower legs. It'd be less likely, I would say, to have an adverse effect, in terms of the income and what you enjoy, which is Venus. Now, let's say if Venus is in Virgo, as an example, the income and things that you enjoy may be tied in with statistics, analytics, organization, compartmentalizing, things that are connected with health and fitness, nutrition, cleaning, sanitizing, things of, and things that may require just general, analysis and diagnosis, as some examples. And also, too, you may easily be able to incorporate talents and abilities, which is Venus, in activities that are associated with computers, electronics, innovation, astrology, or astronomy, which is Uranus. Now, let's say, going back to Venus and Gemini as an example, those talents, the abilities may simply be tied in with multitasking and being able to incorporate that in those activities connected with Uranus, or even dexterity, as some examples. And also, too, Venus sextile or trine Uranus in a natal chart may be propitious for legal issues, which is Venus, that is associated with groups, clubs, organizations, which is Uranus. Now, Let's say Venus is in Scorpio as an example. Legal issues may be tied in with an estate or wills, a support, a shared resources situation, or something with taxes or insurance as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.